You got to be able to run fast.
10 women in this fourth of 6 heats. Brooke Wells is in lane number 4, and she has had a very uncharacteristic first 3 tests here at the North America East semifinal. Her best finish was a 15th place, and she's right now in 26th overall. She has a lot of ground to make up.
Fortunately for her, there's still 4 scores left on the table. 200 points, as you said earlier, Sean, that is available for her.
Lindsay Porter working out of lane number 5.
One of the things Lindsay Porter was talking about, loves heavy snatches, been working on her strength, trains out of her dad's affiliate, CrossFit Clearwater. Been training her since 2009.
Well, Ashley Wozni comes into this test in 14th place overall with 163 points. She's only 10 points out of a qualifying spot.
You know, and Wozni actually has a lot of competition experience, been going team for the last couple of years, and it's, you know, it's good to see her back on the floor here as an individual.
Test number 4 is underway, and the top mark is 210 pounds from Danielle Perrin, who did that a couple heats ago, I believe in heat number 2.
Starting with test number 4.
Talked about Brooke Wells, just hasn't got it going, and coming into this season, especially after coming off that 5th place finish at the games last year, a lot of talk has been saying is like this could, especially with some of the athletes that have withdrawn from competition for the season, a lot of talk is like, could this be the year Brooke Wells finally makes the podium? Again, coming off the injury the year before, getting 5th place after that, she was just poised to maybe have her best finish at the games ever. And now the question is, can Brooke Wells even make it? With the most spots we've had available, 11 for the women here at the North America East, but where she's sitting right now, she has not been able to put anything together.
And I misspoke earlier, her best finish is a 17th. And she's had a strange games history. She's been 8 straight times, but when you look at her finishes, it's outside the top 10, inside the top 10, outside the top 10, inside the top 10. She was 5th last year.
And it's been like that for 8 straight years.
Let's send it down to Mike Arsenault for more.
Well, I think we're going to have to keep an eye on Brooke's left foot throughout this test again with a mile of running, because yesterday she spent quite a bit of time with the medical staff, and they were taping her left foot yesterday. She wasn't moving as gingerly as Saxon Panchik, who had to withdraw from the competition, but definitely something to keep an eye on, just the accumulation of the test so far and the mile run here in test 4 and 5.
Brooke Wells up on that jumbotron. Looking calm.
800 meters here. A lot of these women looking to get themselves into position to make a move into the top 11. Lane 3, our current leader right now is Jordan Sheffs.
Sheffs training at a CrossFit Tuabor, 20 years old. Likes to see grunt work. She's been working on her skill work and her strength.
Looking to get herself into the top 20s, 21st place overall coming in. And 2 solid performances here in these back-to-back tests, and she's right back in the thick of it. Over in lane 6 is Ashley Giroux. Smiling because probably she knows that she's on the big screen right now.
Well, she probably doesn't know her back's facing it. It's like, you know, it might be just one of those sick individuals that enjoys running.
Act normal, act normal. Ashley Giroux, 31st place overall. And
background in
there for her.
Yeah, for Giroux has a background in gymnastics. Says she was part of the CrossFit movie Strong Enough that was released on Amazon Prime recently. I'm gonna add that to the queue.
And Giroux is done.
3:30, one of the quicker 800s we've seen so far. Sheffs as well. So again, you got about till the 6-minute mark to hit as heavy of a lift as you can. When it comes down to the wire, as long as the bar gets off the ground by 5:59, they will be able to count the rep.
There's Giroux's first lift at 165. Actually, Wozni, on the bottom left-hand part of your screen, has got 185 pounds on the barbell, and she's there in the long blue pants.
Taking her time. We saw a big opener lift in the previous heat, but it took 3 attempts to get it, and that's the game you play here. Not only trying to get as heavy as we can, but how do we get there? Do we open heavy? Do we open light? It means we need to get more reps to find that weight.
Well, Brooke Wells just hit 165. Lindsay Porter made that weight as well, and Wozni misses her first attempt at 185.
Seen a lot of athletes have a little bit of a trouble with the first attempt.
And misses the second.
For that, I just see someone that just needs to sit at the bottom of that receiving position for an extra second. You nail the lift when we're talking about snatch specifically. You nail it in the bottom. Just stay down there, secure it, stand up.
And there it is. Logan Philo-Loss in the gray shirt just hit 170. 180 for Giroux. 180 for Emily Baroth. And now 40 seconds remain.
These last 30 seconds, if we've seen anything over the last 9 heats, is that this is where the fireworks happen.
Ashley Wozzy's got 195 on the bar, and she will make that. Giroux has 195 on the right side, 190 for Baroth on the left side of your screen. And here goes Giroux, isn't gonna hit it.
I heard a loud cheer, and that was from Brooke Wells. She just hit 180.
And Wozzy, I'm not sure what the weight was. I believe 190. We're still waiting for them to change the placard on her weight, but she did make that last lift.
Might have been 195, and that was just at the buzzer. And wild to see, she opened up with 185, missed it nearly 3 times.
205 for Wozni.
205
is what we're being told. She'll tie for second in this test, as Danielle Perrin's time score of 210 is still the top mark.
See Wozni doing a shoe change.
The 205 for Ashley Wozni as we now get set for test number 5. And that's big for Wozni. Again, just 10 points back of Amanda Fisher for 11th place.
As we reset, test 5, 8 snatches, 125 pounds. And then an 800-meter run, so we're moving for max load to fastest time. This is something that Adrian Bosman has shown that he really enjoys this style of test, having the best of both worlds. Classic CrossFit athlete greed. I want to be strong and I want to be fast. That's the whole thing.
Brooke Wells with a solid result there.
Ended up getting, I think she got 185 or 180 right towards the end, and there was a lot of cheers for that lift. So
10 seconds.
Obviously
Wells
injuring her elbow in the snatch a couple years ago, so that always lingers in the back of your head as an athlete.
180 pounds right now for Brooke Wells would tie her for 11th. We still have 2 heats to go.
Last heat. Those athletes are just ripping it off the floor. 125 relative to 185 that the men were using is a much lighter weight for these athletes. The women have come so far in this sport is that the speed at which they can cycle these barbells is much quicker than we saw the men do.
Wozzy's going to be first to the runner. Jordan Sheffs is next. Ashley Giroux, Brooke Wells. And that leaves Elena Savage as the last woman to get to the runner.
Now Wazzy was to the runner first. She hit that 205. Brooke Wells was just behind her. Wells is hoping to work some of that magic that Sydney put out there after taking the heat in the previous one.
Sydney Wells smashed the time to beat in the last heat. 309.58 seconds is your top mark right now.
Athletes are all got there about the same time. Let's see who's going to separate themselves.
You're looking at a pace out this 800. It's longer than you want it to be at the pace at which you have to run this. I mean, talk to any track athlete, and the 800 itself is one of the worst, most painful events out there when you look about on the track. But here, there's some pacing elements here. You want to get that belt going as quick as you can, as fast as you can for probably about 200 meters. Settle into that pace a little bit for the next 200. Once you crest that halfway point, it's more of just trying to maintain that pace that you had in that middle 200. Hopefully at the end you got a little bit left, but those last 200 to 300 meters is just absolute pain.
Yeah, Brooke Wells is in the lead right now on this 800-meter run. She really has to start knocking some of these out of the park if she wants to get herself into contention for another trip to the CrossFit Games. Leaders on the screen right now. Brooke Wells in first place. Jordan Sheff's next to her in the long blue pants and black top. Behind her, and then Ashley Wozni, who is the first woman to the runner, but you can see her pace starting to slow a little here. Now Brooke Wells on her final 200 meters, as is Chiara Napoli in lane 1, down on the far end there in the black top, down left side of your screen. Judge's hand in the air for Jordan Sheffs.
Napoli on the left side of your screen surprised yourself with a heat win in Linda this morning. Trying to ride that wave of success here.
Sydney Wells' time is going to stand, but we have now 20 seconds before the second best time. .339.40 seconds. That's the next best time. And here comes Brooke Wells and Chiara Napoli. And Napoli, I think, is going to win that race. She will. Here comes Sheffs. And Elena Savage is in. What a charge from Savage. She was the last woman to that runner. But Napoli is going to beat Brooke Wells by 0.7 of a second across the finish line. Sarah Hogue is in. Brooke Wells will have the third best time at 3:31.85 seconds. 2 heats still to go here. Logan Fila-Loss is in. And Lindsey Porter. And here comes Ashley Wozni. It's like Emily Baroff is the only woman left, and here she comes. And heat 5 is done. Chiara Napoli edging out Brooke Wells by 0.7 seconds. But let's go back to test 4. Ashley Wozni took a second to get situated, but then once she did,
she had a horn blaring in her face halfway through the lift and still got it.
And then the great race between Chiara Napoli and Brooke Wells. And it's Napoli getting across 0.7 of a second ahead of Brooke Wells, and the Jordan Sheffs will finish in third. Test number 4 for heat 4. Ashley Wozni, 205 pounds there at the buzzer. Lindsey Porter will finish in second by Emily Baroff and Jordan Sheffs. And then test number 5, Chiara Napoli.